up, Limeheads? Thanks for checking out another video here at Long Island Music and Entertainment. My guest tonight, someone I've been trying to get on the site for a very long time. You might know him. He's a very famous Long Island comedian. Big Chris Roach is here with us. Chris, thanks for joining us here at Lime. How you doing, dude?
Oh, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
No problem. Now, I know things are a little different nowadays. You're there, I'm here. But hey, this is the way of life right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's for the entertainment business, man. It's a heavy hit because it's we're trying to figure out when things will get back to normal. I mean, even as you're a musician too.
I'm not a musician. I promote the scene, and I'm a big fan of the
Oh, okay.
scene. So yeah, I'm like media for the scene.
Yeah, it's gonna be even tough on your end. What's there to promote?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because they were saying that we may not get back to things being normal until 2022, where
don't say that.
No, God forbid. Like I was speaking to one of the comedy club owners, and he thinks that we could start doing comedy shows as early as August, but the state will only allow them half capacity.
And you got to wear your mask, of course.
Yeah, so I said when comedians, I remember when I've been doing it long enough to remember when people started getting iPhones and coming out with their phones and texting,
right.
And we had to get used to that. First I saw some comedians were offended by it, like, hey, I'm talking up here. But then after a while you realize if they're texting, they're not talking, leave them alone. Right. Now we may have to get used to, people laughing on masks. I said to the comedy club owner, I said, you should get your masks with your logo on them.
Okay. That's a good idea. So
because yeah, man, I saw the comedy clubs, I saw they were trying towards the end. They're like, all right, we're only doing half capacity, and then they said no groups 10 or more, and man, it's just, and I can't even imagine for actors too, like people on Broadway, like
it's amazing to see pictures and videos of downtown Manhattan and Times Square was like a ghost town. It's scary.
It's like something from one of those sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
And again, musicians, I can't even imagine. Really cool Long Island club is the one in Amityville, Revolution.
Right.
Cool place to see. A cool place. My band would play there too, and it was so cool to go see a concert. But now it's like, I mean, I guess the Amityville Music Hall will do pretty good if they only do half capacity. But how you gonna go to Madison Square Garden to see a concert because if one person in that place has the virus, it's going to be everywhere. I just think that how do we get back to normal until there's a vaccine?
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. As long as everyone plays their part, and we'll get there. But I wanted to focus on more you because it's sad time for everybody with this virus. So I wanted to stay on the positive end of things. But a couple of years ago, back in 2017, you released a very funny video on YouTube called Ronkonkomo, and I think currently it's about 125,000 people, which is outrageous. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you, but that's just 125. See, I made the video. I just doing it to make my friends laugh, and
you made a lot of people laugh.
So I didn't realize when you make a YouTube video, you're supposed to there's a way you could watermark it or something so people can't grab it, but I didn't care. Like the next day, I got an email from Newsday, and they go, hey, can we take your video? I'm like, yeah, take it. But I thought every time they would get views, it would go over to my page, but that's not the case. So Newsday got over 500,000.
Oh, wow.
And then a friend of mine asked if he could put it on his page. At this point, I'm like, yeah, go ahead. It's called Long Island Laughs. He got over 1 million.
Damn. Now, do you get credit for that as well on other people's pages?
No, I thought it would be directed over to my YouTube page.
Right.
Apparently, there's something you have to do to copyright, and I'm not that technical. I'm not that savvy in that area, and I'm still learning.
Right.
But if I do another video, which I have ideas, something I've been writing for a while, that one I'll try to do different. Then again, I'm just doing them for fun. You know, I just do them for fun. So if somebody wants to take
Yeah.
them, I'm not looking to get rich off of Ronkonkomo.
Now, for people watching this interview, and you know, if they've never seen Ronkonkomo, it's a parody of Long Island, but more specifically, it's a parody of your hometown, Ronkonkomo. So, you know, tell us your inspiration behind why you started it, and you know how it all unfolded.
Oh, it was a. I'm talking with my glasses. That makes me seem intelligent. It was a. Let me tell you, sir. It was. It ended up. It was a joke in my act, and one day I was on the Long Island Railroad, and I thought, I'm like, why don't I try to make this? I would sing it in my act on stage, locally, and I would say, why don't I said, why don't I try to make it longer and add to it? And then I'm like, wait a second, this sounds like a parody video. And so, with the help of my friend John Truson and a bunch of my friends and fans that came out to be part of it, it really turned into something special where people have been writing me still to this day. If somebody lives in Florida, they'll write me and go, hey man, I was feeling homesick. I saw this video and it made me laugh. Thank you so much. And
yeah, you did a really good job. I watched it myself a few times, you know, when you first released it back in 2017. So you got to chuckle at me like a lot.
I enjoy the comments. I even enjoy the negative comments too. I got a kick out of them. Some guy wrote, I feel embarrassed for this guy. And I was hysterical laughing. But you don't have to feel embarrassed for me. I feel embarrassed for myself.
Sometimes the negative comments are the best comments, you know?
Yeah. It's just so funny.
So on top of, you know, being a star with your own video, Ronkonkomo, many of us know you with your very familiar and famous role playing Mott on the show Kevin Can Wait. How was that? How did you get started with that? Were you friends with Kevin James prior to the show, or he found out about you? How did you become a co-star on that show?
Oh, that was it's interesting. My story with Kevin is that we grew up 12 minutes apart but never met. And coincidentally, I used to do security at a bar in Port Jefferson that 10 years earlier he was doing security at that bar. But it was a Wednesday night, and the comedy club called me up here, McGuire's in Bohemia. They called me up and asked me if I wanted to do a set that night. I'm like, yeah, I'm just sitting home doing nothing. And I went in, and I was getting ready to go on stage. I'm standing in the back of the room looking at my notes, maybe 30 people in a club that can fit 200 easily. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw somebody walk into the back room, and I noticed it was Kevin and Rock Rubin and his entourage. And I didn't meet him that night. I did audition for the role. When it came out, I had my manager submit for it, and I went into the city and I auditioned for it. But I found out like a year into the show that somebody said that when he saw you at McGuire's, somebody that was with him must have leaned over and said, this is the guy that you're looking for. So I actually got the part that night. I didn't know that. I got discovered in Bohemia.
That's awesome. And how was it actually working on the show? Because I went to see it a few times. I was lucky enough to just, you know, score tickets. So I went, I think 2 or 3 times I went down there. And it was awesome. It was such an amazing experience. You guys did such a good job. How was it?
It was just absolutely incredible. And I never wanted it to end. It was surreal. It was everything I've been working for. And it was just great. Kevin was great. The cast was great. I learned so much. I mean, I take a lot of acting classes throughout the years, but there was no acting class better than to sit back and not only be in a scene with Kevin James, but the times where he was filming scenes that I wasn't in, instead of sitting in my dressing room, I got out and I watched and I learned. And he is really just an amazingly talented guy, great guy.
And then, you know, during the shows, during when you guys were taping the shows, and you know, after the fact, you actually had the honor of opening up for Kevin James, doing some shows at the Paramount.
The Paramount, and it was last fall. I went on tour with him. We went around the Midwest, starting in Virginia, heading over to Tennessee, and up to Indiana, to Michigan. It was just phenomenal, just being in a car with him and just talking to him about about Long Island. He's a Long Island guy, and he's proud to be from Long Island. He likes to talk about Long Island.
Now, how is your, you know, performance at the Paramount. I know, we're good friends with the people at the Paramount also. Paramount's a great place. How was it performing in front of all those people at that kind of venue?
That was a lot of fun. I love the Paramount guys. They are all so good.
It's awesome. Everyone's so good over there.
The owners are great, and the staff. I hang out with them before the show. They're phenomenal. They're a lot of fun. That stage was it's high ceilings, so I noticed that as a comedian, sometimes when you have high ceilings, you have to almost like slow your speech down a little bit because your voice is bouncing off the walls, and you have to wait for them to hear it before you deliver the next line. So there is a difference in cadence between a big venue like the Paramount, or when I opened for Kevin at the Beacon Theater in the city, which is like 3,000 people. There is I noticed there's a cadence difference where, especially with the sound, it's like you say a joke, and all of a sudden there's a brief pause, and then you feel the laughter just come at you.
It must be an amazing feeling.
Oh my God, it's incredible, and I love it because when you're on stage too, you can actually, I'm in a comedy club, I'll just talk, but when you're on a stage in a theater, you can really like get into it, and you're walking around, and it's just surreal. It really is incredible.
Difference when you're performing in front of a couple thousand people, or 20 to 50 people. So it makes a difference.
Yeah, there were times. I think it was one time I did the Westbury Music Fair, and it was sold out, and it was just incredible. And it was late that night, and somebody said, "Hey, you want to do the prom show at McGuire's at midnight?" And man, what a humbling experience that is, trying to make 27 drunk teenagers laugh. They're all drinking in the parking lot, of course, and coming in, and like, what am I going to talk to you guys about? It's like.
Do you remember one of the jokes that you said that night? We'd love to hear one, or any joke that you're working on.
To the prom show kids?
Yeah, anything you could.
Well, I know with the prom show, I just talk to them and make fun of some of them. They had a good time.
All right.
With Kevin, I'm trying to think how to put this up. Maybe I'll clean things up a little bit. Because one thing in stand-up comedy, it's never fair for a comedian to curse if the comedian after them is not cursing, because it changes the dynamic of the room. So when Kevin first asked me to open up for him, I knew right away. I said, all right, I'm not going to curse. And if we have any similar material, I'll cut it out. And we clicked. We definitely clicked. So when his brother Gary Valentine is not opening for him, he'll call me. And I'm very grateful for that.
Very cool. Now, what have you been up to recently? Any shows or any venues that you are currently playing at or performing at?
Well, I've been having a lot of shows rescheduled. Good question, actually. I think it was like May 3rd. I was supposed to be at the Paramount with Kevin, and I got rescheduled, I think, till September. And I had a date with him in Tarrytown, New York that got rescheduled. So that, it's one thing to have that dates rescheduled, but it's the smaller ones that put bread on the table that, you're like, all right, I have a gig for 200 people in Poughkeepsie, New York. And they just go, they cancel it, and that's it. There's no contracts initially, so there's no money to be made even when it's canceled.
Right.
Yeah, that's tough.
So since we are a Long Island-based website, hence the name Long Island Music and Entertainment, usually I like to ask my guests, away from, your talent, like, what do you like to do on Long Island when you're not performing? What are some hot spots that you like to go to? Like, what do you like to do? Where do you like to go eat? What's good on Long Island with Chris Roach?
That's a good question, sir. That's a good question. Well, there's plenty of good places to eat.
Right.
My wife and I have been getting some takeout from this place, Carnival, and it's a little bit of a drive from us. It's over like near Middle Island, I think, or Port Jeff Station. That's really good. And then I love the pizzeria close to me called Pizza Stop. I love that, or Little Vincent's. But as far as, I have another podcast called Long Island Explained, where we'll talk about things like the Amityville Horror House. I enjoy that, or we interview like Steve Gutenberg, or like kind of similar to what you're doing.
Right.
and it's a lot of fun. We talked about the duck. You know, the big duck out in Flanders.
Yeah, I've never been there. Never
I
been
know.
to see the big duck.
We talked about the duck. We interviewed a woman who wrote a book on the duck, and yeah, of course.
Well, hey, if you ever need a last minute guest for your podcast, hit me up. I'll come on.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. One of my favorite places on Long Island too is I used to work at this before Kevin Can Wait. I worked at this farm festival where I did a game show for kids, the
Oh,
White
nice.
Post Farm Festival in
Okay.
Melville, and that was a lot of fun. I love that place. They're good people, and it's a lot of fun. Every fall they have that big festival,
Right.
and
Yeah, all those places always get decked out. Yeah, White Post. You have Schmidt's Farms, right? They're all over there.
Yeah. And then the summer, I love doing when somebody will book me on a show out, and I done a couple shows at that Martha Clara Vineyards back in the day. You get to really see Long Island performing at these places. It's fun.
Nice. Now, you born and raised Long Island?
Yeah, well, I was born in Queens, and I think the first 5 years of my life was in Glen Oaks, Queens.
Okay.
And then my dad was a transit police officer, and he bought a house out in Ronkonkomo, and all my two brothers and my sister, we've all seemed to somewhat stay in the area in Suffolk County.
Very cool. Now, how old were you when you realized that you were funny and you wanted to be a comedian?
Oh man,
Were you a class clown back in the day when you going to school?
I was in elementary school and junior high, and then when I think I was 34. I was taking.
You got someone in the background over there. I don't know if they know it.
My wife. Hey, are you going to get the food? She's going to get the food. What are we eating tonight? Island empanada.
Very cool.
Good. Rice and beans.
Hello there. Welcome to Long Island Music and Entertainment.
That's Diane, my wife. She's heading out to get the food now, which I'm very excited about.
All right. So yeah, we'll wrap things up. We're gonna let you eat, but
it's all right.
Yeah, so you were a class clown, you were saying?
Yeah. I was class clown in elementary school and junior high. I think when I got into high school, I got very I had anxiety issues, and I would go home, and I became a little bit of an introvert. But when I was 34, I was taking this class called this company I work for sent me to the Dale Carnegie Training Institute, and it was there that I realized the first class, when they said, all right, we're going to go around the room and everybody's going to come up and say a little bit about yourself, I forgot about what a debilitating public speaking fear I had. So everything that I've accomplished and been fortunate enough to see, and to do a scene with Al Pacino in an independent film, to work with Kevin James, and to just see the country and make people laugh, all started with one day where I came home after this class and I said to my wife, I said, I have a really bad public speaking fear. I have a bad public speaking fear, and I always knew I had it. But it was in this class that every week we had to give a 2-minute presentation, and every week I would add humor to my presentation, because when I made the class laugh, this feeling of warmth came over me. Well, okay, they like me, and I'm not going to die. And then at the end of the class, this woman came up to me and she said, did you ever think about doing stand-up comedy? I said, maybe when I was younger, but I never really gave it too much thought. And she said, you really should try doing an open mic. I was like, okay. Didn't really think about it. And then maybe later that week, I was reading Newsday, and there was an article in the paper it was called Stand Up University. It was taught by Peter Bales and Rich Walker and Steve Lazarus. And I signed up for the class. I said, I'm enjoying making people laugh. Let me just try it. Let me try it. And I have to tell you, I never looked back. Because not only did I get exposed to a group of people who were when I've met all these other comics, I'm like, oh my God, there's other people like me out there who are different from the norm, so to speak. And I got hooked right away. My first laugh, which really was I got hooked on the laughs at Dale Carnegie. But then to make an audience, my first show was with family, a lot of family and friends in the audience. And of course I killed. It was great. It was such a great feeling. And then a week later, I tried doing an open mic where I didn't get that kind of response, and it hurt. And I said to myself after that show, I want to make a group of strangers laugh the way I made my family and friends laugh. And it took a while, but I was able to do it. Some nights
with comedy, you can.
What's that?
It's hit or miss with comedy. You can walk into a place and get the laughs, and then you can walk into a place, say the same jokes another night, and get zero.
It really is. But now it's to the point where I remember doing a show in Huntington early on with a friend of mine named Joe Starr, and it was a Wednesday. The show was at like 6 o'clock. The sun was still up. Where comedy in the sunlight is weird. So we're in this little restaurant, and I feel like I had a really tough time with a small crowd. And outside, I was getting down on myself, and Joe came up to me and he said, "It's a Wednesday. It's 7 o'clock. There's 8 people in there. What were you expecting?" And he's right. Then I learned after a while, I know I'm funny, and I know I can do the job. And if the crowd is not responding, there's something going on, whether it's they haven't come together as an audience yet. I know, okay, the show's, I'm the first guy going up, so chances are it's going to be tougher. They always say the first guy takes the bullet. You learn to pick up on these things, like, all right, it's a Wednesday night and there wasn't that many people there. I mean, you can only expect so much, but you learn to read the rooms, and you learn to know when it's not you.
Got it. All right. Well, we know that it's dinner time for you almost, so we're gonna let you go. Chris Roach, it's been an honor. Like I said, we've been trying to get you on the site for a long time. I know you had ties with I guess CBS, so you couldn't come on. And we appreciate your time, and continue to stay safe and be well out there.
All right, thank you, sir.